Okay, so we have beveled the edges and slicked them on these straps. So now we're going to just talk about how we're going to finish off the ends. Specifically on our parts that are just the tongue here. And these are going to be the areas that are actually going to go slide into the buckle itself. Now we want to finish these off. We don't want to just leave them flat like this. Namely because it makes it harder when you have these hard edges like that to actually go into the buckle. So let me grab a buckle here to show you what I mean. So when it's time to slide this in, some buckles have a really hard time accepting that flat edge. Now this one's pretty wide, so that's okay. But we still want to add some kind of taper to make it easier on your buckle and to make it just look a little bit nicer. So there's a couple of ways you can go about doing that. I've seen some people, they'll take some kind of coin, a dime, a penny, or what have you, and whatever's going to be the same width as your strap, they'll line it up so the end of the coin is at the end of the strap there, and then just cut around it with a box knife, and then edge slick around. For your purposes, you could just take a box knife, find a nice angle, and just cut it. What we're going to do, however, is I'm going to use this end punch right here. This is a 3/4 inch, which is the same width as my strap. And I'm just going to line it up just like that. Make sure the edges are there. Sorry. One thing I want to do is I actually want to do this with the finished side up. The reason being is it just is going to create kind of a weird lip otherwise. And you want that lip to be on the bottom side of your piece. So do that and strike. And there you go. I've just taken off the corners. And now I've got a good rounded edge there. Do the same thing over here. And strike. All right. So now I've got two finished edges. And they're going to be really nice. I'm going to have to go through and bevel these as well and slick them, but they're ready to go. So now we're going to talk about putting the holes. This is going to be for the tongue. And here we go. I'm just going to pull out my mini punch set here. And so to figure out what size hole you need, just take your buckle and start picking sizes and just making sure that the buckle end is going to fit into that hole. So that's going to be a good one right there. So this is, let me just look here, the 3.5 millimeter in this case. Okay. And I'm going to punch holes. Now I want to do this before dyeing because I want the dye to actually get into the hole. So we don't have any exposed leather. Okay. And just down the lane. Strike there. And while I'm here, I'm also going to go ahead and strike the hole for the rivet. That might actually be too big for my rivet, so I'm not going to do that looking at it now. So we'll hold off. And I'm just making sure that this is going right over the hole. It's lining up with the center line. And just a good solid strike will put us through. As simple as that. And there we have it. Those are all of our holes. So I'm going to take my poly mallet here, and I'm just going to strike this side. I'm striking this side, because that did kind of make this side raise up a little bit. And with the poly mallet, since it's, you know, just kind of a plastic, it's not going to mar the leather here. But I'm just striking it to get rid of those raised edges. Okay. So that's as simple as that. So now we've got a good finished edge. This is going to go through. And there you go. There you have it. All right. Got an area for our buckle. Now these particular buckles are center bar buckles, meaning this edge here is going to act like a belt, the little belt loops that you normally have in your standard belt. So if you look at your belt that you have on, you know, you put it through the buckle, and then you've got that loop that kind of will shift up and down that you put the tongue through to kind of let it lay flat. Well, with a center bar buckle, you're not going to need that. It acts as that loop. So we won't need to worry about making one of those for this project. So my suggestion is either get a center bar buckle for yourself, or you can look up how to make those loops with some spare leather that you have around. Okay. All right. And we'll definitely be covering how to make those in later projects, but we won't need it for this particular one. Okay. So that's those straps. Now we just need to go ahead and make this end, which is going to be the equivalent of this end for our other buckle. This particular one is going underneath the arm for the pauldron. So here I have this oblong punch. I talked about before, you could punch either end to get the round side and then use an X-Acto knife to cut down the edges to make this. But in this case, I'm going to use this oblong punch. So I'm just going to line it up here. Make sure it's right in the center where I need it. Strike. And there we have it. I've got a good oblong punch, real fast. Same thing, I'm just going to strike it on that side. You see it's got the leather stuck in there. And don't worry, there's a hole in this side of the tool, so as you do this more and more, it just pushes the leather up and out over time. Okay, so for the holes here, I said, you know, I just don't want to, I think this is a little too large of a punch. So I'm actually going to go one size down, and these will be for my rivets. You do want to, sorry, let's go, yeah. You do want these holes to be a little bit smaller, so your rivet, you don't want it to make it rivet too tight to have to go in, but you do want it to be a fairly tight squeeze, so that way the rivet is holding into the leather when you're going to put these through. Not you. Okay. So similar principle as when we punch these holes out. Just striking it and getting everything ready. So what's great is if I need to, I can go with my brads later and put this all together with my brads before actually putting in the rivets to make sure it's all going to function even after I get the leather said and done. So it's a nice thing to be able to do. Great. So we are done with our straps at this, of all the new information that I have to give you. We're just gonna, like I said before, like we did in the last video, I'm going to bevel these edges, and then I'm going to go through and slick them. I'll then dye everything and seal everything like we did with the other projects. And then these will be ready to go. So when they're ready, I'm going to show you how to put in the buckles and put in all the rivets. Okay, so what we're going to do at this point, however, is we're going to jump back over to our vest piece. We're going to punch all the holes and put in the eyelets. Okay, so we'll show you how to do that. And once that's all said and done, that means this piece will be ready to go. The vest piece will be ready. And then we'll come back over to the pauldron. We'll set in all of the rivets. And once that's done, this piece is finished. And we'll be able to put it on Moose, check it out, and make sure, see how it looks. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. This has been a fast but a really exciting project. And I think it's good to be able to show all the basics. And I think you'll learn a lot from this. So we'll see you next time.